Hey everybody, Beard Brigade coming at you with our first, and hopefully many to come, Monster Monday. We're just gonna dive right in here since it is our first time doing it. And of course we will hopefully tweak it and improve on it as we move along through the series. For those of you first turning in, if this is the first video you're tuning in of mine, it's Monster Monday. So what I've decided to do with starting with this very first one is that every Monday I'm going to be posting a video where I talk about a monster of some kind, and kind of craft a new monster, sort of, or a different version of a monster. Something new for you guys to use, or to, maybe kickstart that brain for an idea of yourself. Feel free to use these creatures in your tabletop role-playing games. If you're writing any kind of story, feel free to use it. I just ask that you reach out to me and let me know that you are using it. That way I can go ahead and put something in for you guys, to let people know that there's someone out there who will be publishing something with this idea. Now, as you guys can hear, I'm still coughing. Sorry about that. So, I do want to get this business done out of the way at the beginning of the video. With this cough, and currently not being able to go to a doctor due to a lack of personal health care, I've decided to, look up, remedies and stuff. A lot of stuff hasn't been working. But I went ahead and, looked up what my cough might be. Don't worry guys, it's nothing serious. But, the fact that I've been doing these videos, a lot of my videos I am doing late at night, and, I'm being a dad of 3 kids, and, working full-time, I haven't given myself pretty much enough chance to rest. So, I know I've been posting pretty regularly, so I just want to give you guys a heads up that I may be missing a couple episodes here and there. 1, to give myself a chance to rest, and 2, to get myself prepared for this new scheduling cycle that I want to do for the videos. Want to make sure that I can sit down and do some good quality videos for you guys, starting with this Monster Monday segment. In the next segment, I plan on making a regular segment. We are going with the term Wild Card Wednesdays. So all those challenge videos that I have up, which, like I said, if this is your first time tuning in, would be a good time for you to stop, head back, check some of those videos out. Going forward, my challenge my challenge series episodes will be posted on Wild Card Wednesdays, pointing that off of the fact that I draw wild cards each episode to give myself that extra challenge. So whether it be Skyrim or doing something like my crazy blindfold challenge, those will be Wednesdays now, guys. In fact, we should be having either just a one-off challenge series popping up this Wednesday, or if Ninja Blue and I have had some time, we will sit down and actually do the picks for challenge series number 5, guys. Everything that I'm planning out for that one so far, if it works out the way that I hope it does, it's shaping up to be a pretty cool one, but we gotta pick out some stuff to see how it goes. So, that is getting the business out of the way. Hopefully I haven't bored you guys too much. But, moving into the Monster Monday, getting into the nitty-gritty of it all. So, I figured, what better creature to start a Monster Monday off with, right, than a true classic. And so the creature I'm going with, and actually I'm going to give you guys a peek here. This is why I'm in Dungeons & Dragons Neverwinter MMORPG. For those of you guys who don't recognize the game, the creature I'm going to be talking about today is none other than a mimic. And right here, guys, this is a mimic, or a version of a mimic. I mean, it's an adorned mimic. Now, I'm going to be covering a slightly different version of a mimic. So, first, guys, before we dive into this alternate version of a mimic that I have thought up, let us kind of go over the parts of a mimic that we do know. Or what do we know about mimics? So, first off, mimics are a fantasy creature that takes the image of an inanimate object. Now, the most common object to find that in a fantasy setting or tabletop role-playing game setting is a treasure chest. That is the most common use of them that I can find. I mean, I did a little looking this time, but the most common thing that a dungeon master or game master will use a mimic for is that we'll disguise it as a treasure chest as a way to eat an adventurer. Which brings me to the next point. What it does is it eats the target. It does this because a mimic has this sticky substance or has this trap-like quality to it that will ensnare someone who touches it, allowing it to eat them. Now, because it's always ingesting these people, or adventurers, and adventurers always have random loot on them, typically they have a bunch of treasure inside of them once you do defeat them. Usually it's mostly gold, because it's whatever gold was on the person, because for whatever reason mimics can't digest metal. Or magical items. So it's not uncommon to find loot inside one. Now, that is basically a mimic. And as we saw a moment ago, a mimic is, just this crazy little tongue, toothy monster thing. Alright guys, so now for the idea that I have for this alternate version of a mimic. I'm going to point out the inspirations for it first. So, first and foremost, I'm actually kind of inspired by my son a little bit. The other day, he popped into the room, his shirt half hanging off, wanting to take it off. So he took his shirt off, and he wanted to do it because I was wearing a tank top. And I was like, okay. Well, the spouse went off and started doing her thing, or had to go somewhere. I forget what happened exactly, but she, was off out of the house. Which, it's part of parenting, right? Taking turns getting out of the house. So, she's off doing her thing, and, me and just little man are hanging out, and all of a sudden, he starts copying what I'm doing, which gave me the idea that my first Monster Monday episode should be a mimic, because he was just mimicking everything that I did. If I rubbed my hands together, he rubbed his hands together. Stuff like that. So I got kind of inspired to pick the mimic because of that. Now, I myself am a big fan of morally trying, I guess, would be the term I'm looking for. I like to throw things at least when I DM'd. I didn't do it too often, but now that I've been, doing a lot of research and stuff, and a lot of things that I have thought of more recently, and concepts that I like to play around with and come up with a lot of my ideas for, are like those morally, is this a good thing or is this technically a bad thing? Is it wrong to do this? Is it not wrong to do this? So that was the next bit of inspiration is throwing a bit of this moral ambiguity, I guess, would be the best way to put it, into the mixture. Because when I put this all together, it's going to sound pretty bad, guys, and don't take it the wrong way. I'm not, trying to put this in a thing, but it is kind of a dark path if this creature grows up. But I think it adds a lot of flavor, so that'll be the next part we talk about after I will finally reveal it, which I should finally just get to, right? So, or actually, no, the last bit of inspiration. If you guys are familiar with the witch from Left 4 Dead, they're the little girls that cry. In fact, Here's a clip of one. And this is a witch.
Reloading.
I've been better.
Reloading.
Alright, guys. So, that's a witch. And that's my next bit of inspiration was the witch. Here they are as this, disguised, basically like this little mutated zombie girl monster thing that cries to attract attention. And then once you get there, she horribly brutalizes you. So, now, with that, ouchies. Use a minor kit. Interesting. Anyway, unleash the spiders, yes I know. So, my son mimicking me, and the mimic, the attracting adventures bit, as a new friend trope through the crying. So I call this version of a mimic, I'm referring to it as the crybaby mimic. Not again! Ugh! I'm just hitting all of these stupid traps. Because what I picture. So, because it's specifically stated in at least D&D, when the mimic is referenced, is that it takes the appearance of an inanimate object. Now, it doesn't state what the inanimate object has to be. It doesn't say whether it has to be organic or man-made, or anything like that. So, the thought that I have is that the mimic takes the form of a child. What? Die with questioning die pack. Okay, not that really does much to it, I guess. Yeah, that doesn't really change anything, because I can't see the icon. Okay. Yeah, so it takes the form of a child. Now, with that, so it takes this form of a child, so I picture it just taking like this cradled or huddled approach. That way you don't really know if it's a boy or a girl. That way you can just keep it pretty plain that there just looks like there's this child who is apparently in distress and is crying. So with that, the mimic will do something new. That new thing is that the mimic is letting out a noise. Now, mimics don't normally make noise. At least anytime I ever run into them, or seen them, they're not emitting any kind of standard noise to start off with. So this mimic will take this form of a child that's curled up or huddled up or in some kind of position that would signify distress and the need for assistance, and then emits a kind of low, or I guess you could even make it a loud, crying-like noise. Now, two things about the crying. So, if you're using this for a tabletop game or just general description, you could refer to it as, a crying child, and just leave it at that. But one thing that, I want to throw in there is that subtle hint that it may not necessarily be a crying child. So I would describe the sound more as what sounds to be a child in duress, or a crying child, or what sounds to be a crying child. Don't describe it as a crying child. Describe it as something that sounds to be a crying child. Just to really see who's paying attention. Either when they read that in the description, or you you throw in a group of players. Because either A, they're just going to keep going for it, you know, and you know, reach out to try and console the child, at which point when they touch the child, you know, the ensnarement trap happens. You know, forcing them now to essentially fight this monster that they thought was a child. Because, you know, then like the maw would open up, you know, and they'd have to fight this child mimic. Now you could even make it like, you know, maybe it's a baby mimic, you know, where it's actually a mimic that's, you know, the baby version of a mimic, and it's disguised as a child. Because too, like, I would imagine, like, it takes this hold position because it can't really copy a face. So, you know, I would imagine, like, you know, maybe as it, you know, starts to churn before it transforms to try and ensnare your player. You know, maybe perhaps it you know, turns, and then, you know, you know, the players get to see this, you know, malformed, or not malformed, this not so human face, or this blank visage of a face where it's just like a, you know, like a white face and there's no details or anything. It's just like a silhouette. I think something like that would, like, one, it would terrify them, because they'd be like, oh my god, what have I just done? And then two, it just adds that little bit of extra, like, oh crap, to the creature. Now,
shove off.
you know, it would still have some treasure upon the feet.
I got your money. Ollie's gonna pull
Which,
through, by the way, if
you know, begs this interesting question. Oh my god, you know, they just fought this, you know, child monster thing, and, you know, it was full of treasure. I mean, should they feel bad, or should they not feel bad? Because they still fought what appeared to be a child until it transformed into a mimic. So, you know, definitely, I would recommend bringing that into the aspect of how your players should react. Like, remind them that, you know, they weren't just fighting a mimic, they were fighting an image of a child. You know, just to give them that added moment to think about how their characters would react to something like that. Because that would be kind of traumatic in a way. I mean, here's this innocent thing, and it's being, you know, this horrible, not necessarily evil creature, but it has taken the form of something innocent. And, you know, just really drive that point. I mean, if you're just doing it for fun, you're doing it for fun. But, you know, if you're playing more of a serious game, or you're trying to put a more serious point across with us, you know, I would definitely drive that fact. So that brings us to kind of
Protector's Enclave needs your help.
the next point.
Never.
Alrighty, guys. Now, I want to cover the points of where I would kind of expect to have this kind of mimic, and then I'll cover like a potential scenario or two for having this kind of mimic. So, the first location that I thought of was just kind of like like a haunted house. Thinking water because of the water deep force. My inventory. Oh, there it is. Good. Okay. Yeah, the horse. So it was like a haunted house, basically. You know, just because I pictured, you know, this you know, empty house, maybe full of spirits, and, you know, maybe that's part of why the mimic can't generate the features, because maybe the only reference it has to go off of is you know, these images of these phantasms that roam around the house, and that's where I got it from. And you know, maybe it was attracted to the house because of should be on my mouse. So the stable game. Insignia. Alright, well there's that. So I was just thinking of that, like, you know, just you know, just this haunted house. And because of that. Now, the other location I thought of, because I really only thought of two. The next location I thought of was like an abandoned city, or like a city in ruins. Just because then you have this massive city that has been abandoned by most denizens, and then, you know, your players show up, and, you know, they're in this abandoned city, but then all of a sudden there's this crying child, and they go to investigate, and wham bam boom, they get attacked by a mimic. Like, holy crap. I mean, that would, you know, throw a curve. I mean, it could even just be a random thing that you throw in. Like, it wouldn't have to be any major part of the story. Maybe it's just a random thing that happens while they're in the city. Which, you know, brings me to potential things, like a potential scenario, or two. Let's do two potential scenarios. So the first scenario, you know, regardless of location, just random. You know, your team's going along, your party's going along, and they hear this faint crying, and maybe they take some time and they have a hard time pinpointing it. You know, it's hard for them to track down where it's coming from. You know, if they decide to investigate the sound, and then once they finally do find it, you know, they see this child, and then, you know, things happen. Now, one thing too, for this random encounter, maybe rather than have it for the whole group, maybe, let's say maybe you have that one player who, you know, is constantly going off on his own, or, you know, that character in your story that keeps going off on their own, not really, you know, being a team player. And you put them in this situation where they, you know, maybe they come across the mimic, or maybe, you know, the cries of the mimic drive them towards it, you know, as a way for them, you know, to get them to think. You know, not that I'm saying, you know, kill your players, but, you know, if you have that one troublesome player who you're just trying to get through to, you know, this would be a great monster to throw at them, you know, especially if they've left the party for any reason. Have them come across this mimic, and when they do, you know, when they reach out to try and console the child, and it turns into a mimic, and, you know, starts to eat the player, you know, hopefully, you know, I mean, of course, don't make it something that's going to kill them. You know, just use it to really drive that point of, it probably shouldn't, you should probably be more of a team player. Like, you know, running and doing stuff like this is what's going to happen. So I think it would be a really great tool for something like that. Now, the next encounter that I thought of. So, and this is definitely kind of a dark one, but not kind of a dark one. It's more of a, fits in with the theme of it. So, I've seen over the years a lot of campaigns that take place during a war, or you know, maybe the campaign you know, actually, you know, partially delves into the war a little bit, where, you know, the players actually have an active effect on what's happening in the war. So one thing I thought of, just because at the same time too, I think a mimic of this nature that would take on the shape of kind of a person, or you know, a person in general, or a creature in general, I feel would be drawn to some place where there's a lot of tragedy, where there would be a lot of bodies, or you know, in this case, since I'm calling it the crybaby mimic, you know, would be attracted to a place where there would be a grieving child of some kind. You know, I feel like it would make, you know, it would do something to make sense, basically, for why it's there. Joaquin's gem. Okay, I'm not sure. Alright, we'll go with it. I don't know what that is, or why I got it just now. Alright. Yeah, I feel like it would just make sense that it would be attracted to an area like that. So the area that came to mind why I brought up a war would be a city that has just come under siege, or has just finished the siege. Whether the town successfully defended themselves, or maybe the city was sacked and left in ruins, or maybe the invading army has taken over the city and they're trying to rebuild it. You know, but you know, maybe a lot of the citizens were, you know, killed in the process. You know, where a sight of a child, you know, sitting around crying would be something that would catch someone's attention, and, you know, would really pull at the heartstrings of somebody, you know, because now you're in this situation where, you know, trying to console this child would be the right thing to do, especially after a siege, because, you know, maybe you're dealing with a child who's, you know, crying because they just, you know, they've been separated from their parents, or, you know, put it in one of those situations where maybe the mimic is, you know, in this position between a male and a female body, you know, giving the players this or making them have this assumed interpretation that this is a child who is upset at the loss of their parents. Again, I know it's kind of a dark thing to go with, but, you know, kind of didn't leave myself much on the heartfelt side when I kind of came up with this image. But I think it was just, it's one of those creatures that can present that bit of push for you. So with that, guys, let me think here. You know, I can't really think of anything else I really want to add to that. So we'll go ahead and kind of call it here. Way. Oh, I guess I need to kill one more. So, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Before I get to the playlists, of course, the first thing I want to bring up is for you guys who put this to use. So whether you're, like I said, if you're putting it to use for a story of some kind, please, you know, reach out to me and let me know if you use it. You know, that way I can add something to the description of the video and as well to the blog post. So go ahead and check out the website too. Today, after you've watched this video, you know, I'll be organizing the information on the website for you guys to be able to reference that, you know, save it, do whatever you guys want to do, but it'll be there on the website for you guys. Now, I don't know what was I don't know why these, I don't know what these sacks are for, why I keep getting them, but they're new and different and I've never seen them before and it kind of makes me happy. Yeah, just let me know if you like that. And if you're using it for your tabletop game, I want to know how it goes. So, if you guys use it, you know, head over to the website, use the contact me, send me a message of how it went. Because what I would really like to do, guys, as part of these videos is, you know, in like one of my next episodes, maybe not necessarily next Monday, or, you know, maybe a couple Mondays from now, be able to read out on the channel, give you guys some shout outs about your stories of using the creatures. So if you use this one, you know, hit me up on my website to contact me, leave me a comment here on the video and down below, and you know, I will read that comment out and you know, relay the story back out to the viewers and to the folks, and you know, we can, you know, chronicle some cool stuff, and you know, regale the Tories and be able to talk and communicate back and forth to think of new ideas or ways we can improve on it, or things that should be tweaked about it. So with that, guys, of course, now we need to get to the playlist, right? You guys probably thinking, come on, man, shut up, just get to the playlist. Alright, we're getting there, guys, we're getting there. So, for our collective playlist, right? The first and the foremost, let's see, I think, oh yeah, let's go with that one. That'll be a good one to go with. We are gonna go with Just the Two of Us by Will Smith. I know that probably it's kind of a weird song to go with, but I don't know. I think it's a good song.
Hail, adventurer.
There it is. Just the Two of Us by Will Smith. You know, I think it was a nice, sweet, nice, sweet song he did for his kid. You know, because he's got that great relationship, or at least I think he's got a great relationship. I don't know if he really does or not, to be honest. I don't know them personally, so I guess I couldn't really say. At least back then, when I was growing up, you saw this image of Will Smith with Jaden, and you know, it was cute and stuff. So that is what will be on Eclectic. So of course that brings us to the song of the day. Yeah, song of the day. Yeah. So guys, for our song of the day, oh, so many good ones.
You looking for work?
Let's see. Have I used this one? I don't know. I'm about to find out if I've used this one. I used this one. I did not. So that is going to be our song of the day. If you guys are familiar with the song TNT, Dynamite, TNT, I'm Dynamite, TNT. Anyway, so that song, I believe, was originally an AC/DC song. A death metal band the death metal band 6 Feet Under does a cover of that song. It is awesome. So that'll be our song of the day. Anyway, guys, that wraps us up for this video. I hope you guys thought this was really cool. I hope you guys are able to put this to use, and you guys do some pretty fun things with it. So let me know if and when you do, and we can collaborate and share the stories. So as always, guys, you know, hit me up on Instagram. You know, I'm still sitting over there. I'm actually starting to get a pretty decent following over there with some of the stuff I've been posting out. hopefully some of you guys are watching my videos, have found me on Instagram, and that's how you found my channel. If not, head over to Instagram, follow me at BeardBrigade0. For those of you who found me through Twitter, I appreciate the starting of following that I'm getting on Twitter. So if you found me through the Twitter, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Keep it up, keep liking my stuff. Some of the stuff I share on Instagram, I share on Twitter, and then some of the stuff I do on Twitter, I just do on Twitter. So, and then vice versa as well on Instagram. So if you haven't found me on Twitter, you can find me at the Brigade or at BrigadeBeard. And of course, guys, I've mentioned it a bunch of times in the video, but the website, which you can find in the description below as well. I have a contact me section. You can reach out to me, give me some feedback, things like that. So guys, that wraps it up. So, you know what, guys, as always, you take care of yourselves and have a super, super fantastic rest of your day.